going to try and change out the stock CSC RX4 silencer for something that runs much lower on the bike so we can run soft bags. This will take a lot of weight off my wife's bike, but we need a lower exhaust. The stock silencer works quite well, but it's very heavy. Without the mounting hardware, replace it with these items, and I'll weigh them after we have the tubing cut to the correct length. Both of these are off-the-shelf items from RX4. Okay, so the connector tube on the end that will slip on measures out at 48 millimeters. That's too tight. The stock one comes in at 51 OD, approximately 48 ID, and that's what I have the, I'm sorry, 46 ID. That's what I have the exhaust sleeves to fit. So this is too long anyway. Go ahead and cut this on a chop saw, and then we'll, once we get the proper length, we'll come back and see if we can mount it without having to make any bends or cuts and TIG weld it to make the bends correct. We've got the piece of pipe chopped up in the chop saw. We've got it wrapped in a piece of cloth so it doesn't get scratched, using a piece of wood to press against. Just light pressure here because you don't want to distort the tubing. We're going to cut this off right here. So we're going to cut it at the seam that goes from 48 millimeters to 51 millimeters OD. That should be the correct outside diameter. This is 1 millimeter thick, so 40 thousandths thick. So this will be the correct size for our slip-on and our sleeve. We'll go ahead and make this cut and we'll size it up. I'm going to make the initial cut right at the weld because I want to make sure that we don't cut it too short. It's easier to take more off. You can't put it back on unless you can TIG weld it. So there's our cut, pretty clean. I'll deburr it inside and out, and we'll go back and try it, see if it's the right length. This ID and OD match the stock exhaust. So we cut this off of this end right here. Now we need to put these pieces in it so it can clamp down. I've got them marked. Most exhausts use 4 of those. For some reason this only has 2. I'll cut 2 initially and see how it works, and then I may add 2 more. So I'm just cutting those with a 4.5 inch angle grinder with a standard metal disc in it. Okay, so we ended up cutting 4 grooves in the end of this. And then I used the stock sleeve, but I had to cut a slice out of here because this is 47 millimeters ID and the stock one's 48, so it was a little bit tight. But now it fits. You can use the original exhaust clamp off of the RX4 stock silencer on here, and then just put it in place. So I'm going to go ahead and mount it up and then align the silencer. All right, we have the exhaust mounted in place, lined up. If you have the stock hard bags on, this will clear the hard bags. That's the reason for the low profile. My wife's going to run soft bags, but I'm going to run the hard bags. I'm going to do this to my exhaust as well. This bracket, I'm going to powder coat matte black to match the foot pegs. It's out of 1/4 inch aluminum. Pretty easy to make. 8 millimeter holes on each end. We've got the mounting all set up. This little bracket goes between the back side of the foot peg mount and the exhaust pipe, so it'll go on here like this. This spacer goes in between it. The spacer is 1 inch in diameter by 1/4 inch thick. This little piece is 1.5 inch on center holes, and it mounts to the back side of the foot peg right here. So if you have your luggage rack on, that's where your luggage rack mounts as well, right to the back side of the foot peg, just like this. So what you'll want to do is remove it, slip the mount in between them, and then put it back on. I tried it, it works fine that way, and You'll be able to run your bags with this exhaust system if you do it that way, or as my wife's bike is, you can run it without the bags. Okay, we're going to weigh the old slip-on. It's at 12 pounds 11 ounces, just like it was before. Now we're going to weigh the new muffler. And it should come in significantly lighter. All right, the new one, 4 pounds 9 ounces. So you're saving 8 pounds and 2 ounces by going with this, and you're lowering the center of gravity much lower on the motorcycle. Speaking of my wife, here she is right now. She's going to get on the bike and start it up. And I'll let you folks hear what this sounds like. Now you can buy it with and without the insert. I have the spare insert, but it's not in it right now. So go ahead and start it up, Cindy.